Water, a Precious Resource, Part 1.
Water is priceless, and there is no life without water. Water is not only necessary for humans, but also for plants. All vegetation is dependent on water. What is life if there is no water? Without water, there would be no crops, no fruits, no vegetables, no weeds, nothing. In this video, we shall learn about the importance of water and related aspects. Let us go to a small town in Rajasthan where Jugnu and Rajesh live.
Mother, today our school has an essay writing competition. I shall call Rajesh quickly, otherwise he will get delayed as usual. Rajesh, are you coming?
Yes, you please wait for 2 minutes. I will get ready quickly.
Rajesh, you are late every day. What do you do that you get delayed every day?
Don't you know, Jugnu, there is such a shortage of water in this village. Every morning I bring water from the Sarpanch's house, so I get delayed every day. We have a lot of water problem here.
Oh, we also have a lot of water problem at my house. But mother brings water in the morning and me and sister help her in the evening. Let's go quickly now.
Children, today March 22 is being celebrated as World Water Day. You all know that there is a lot of water scarcity in our village and in different parts of our country. Today all of you will write an essay about the importance of water and ways to preserve water. And whoever's essay will be the best, he will get a reward. Children, what is the significance of World Water Day? If you look at the map of the world, you will see that the most of our planet has water, which is about 70%. Despite there being 70% water, water scarcity is still there. Can you think why this is happening? All the children have written very good things about the importance of water. Today's award goes to Jugnu. Jugnu, come here and tell the whole class what you had written.
Yes, sir. Friends, this earth has 70% water, but 97% of this water is salty, which is in the oceans and seas. This water is not usable as it is salty.
Jugnu is right. Only 3% of water is worth using.
Sir, is this why our village is so short of water?
Yes, but can Jugnu elaborate?
This 3% water is called as fresh water. Of this 3% water, about 2/3 of the water is found in rivers, ponds and lakes, and some water remains as groundwater. Groundwater remains inside the earth. The fresh water first gets deposited as ice and glaciers. This then melts and goes into lakes, rivers and ponds. Only 0.006% water is available for usage, which we use for agriculture and manufacturing also.
Is this water enough for the entire population?
Children, so little water is used by more than 7 billion people worldwide. They depend on this 0.007% water. All of us therefore experience water scarcity. Like India, there is a scarcity of water in the world all over. water usage has increased 6-fold in the last 100 years.
There are many ways to save water. We should use water very carefully. Water should not be wasted. Every drop should be saved. Water should be reused in the home. To save rainwater, Toba and Tanka are being made in Rajasthan, in which water conservation is done. They are like the storage tanks. Khadin is a farming system in Rajasthan. It is a traditional farming system. This protects a lot of water. Everyone should conserve water.
Well done, Jugnu. Can any of you tell me where the water comes from?
When it rains, we get water. Rain is the biggest source of water.
Well done. And how does it rain?
Water occurs in 3 states. Ice is solid state, water is liquid state, and vapor is gaseous state.
Right. I will draw a picture to explain. The sun heats the water of lakes and rivers and evaporates to form water vapor. When the water vapor cools, it turns into a liquid form. This is called condensation. When more water condenses in the clouds become heavier and it rains. This entire cycle is called water cycle. The water cycle helps to stabilize the amount of water on the earth, but we should use water carefully.
There is a scarcity of water in our village. But there is a lot of water in my grandfather's village. Why does this happen?
It is because there is more groundwater. Where there is more groundwater, there is no shortage of water.
Is groundwater very important?
Groundwater is the most important source of water for us. Water accumulates below the ground between layers of rocks. The upper limit of groundwater at a place is called water table at that location. This level is usually higher in the plains and much lower in hilly areas.
Sir, thank you. You gave us a lot of information. We understood many things about water.
Water is used for various purposes such as drinking and irrigation, animal husbandry, transportation, industry, hydroelectric generation and fisheries. In villages where even today 80% people do not have tap water, they have to depend on groundwater for drinking water. Groundwater comes through hand pumps, tube wells, etc. In India, the farmer is dependent on groundwater for agricultural work. There is also a great demand for groundwater in industries. Groundwater is widely used in everything from food processing to textile industries. Groundwater is very important and we should conserve it. In the previous video, we learnt about the reduction in groundwater level and its many reasons. In this video, we will learn about water management and water conservation. To get more information about water management, we will take you to a small village in Gujarat where Kunal and Mehul live with their families. Learning objective to understand the various measures of water conservation.
Oh, water is not coming from this tap. Let's see what happened.
What's the matter, father?
Hey, why is so much water falling from the water tank? Looks like a pipe is broken. Something has to be done quickly. There is a lot of water problem in this village.
We cannot do anything. We need to call the plumber.
Yes, you were correct. But I have closed the valves of this pipe from here. We have to save every drop. because in our village, groundwater has decreased. There has been no rain in our village for the last 2 to 3 years. And for 2 to 3 years, the fields are also getting very less water. Therefore, water has to be used very carefully.
Our teacher was also saying that the groundwater of the village has reduced. He was saying that we have to be careful while using water.
What precautions? Is it like this? Like when father stopped the pipe leak for a while today?
Yes, every drop of water has to be saved. Water leakage should be stopped.
We should only use as much water as we need. Teacher said that the tap should be closed while brushing and should be functional only when needed. Continuous water wastage should be stopped.
Rightly said. Even while taking bath, one must first fill the water in the bucket, then take a bath. One should not let the water flow from the tap while bathing.
If there is a leakage of water from anywhere, one must ensure that pipes, hand pumps, tanks, etc. are repaired. Isn't it right, father?
Yes, you are right. We have to check that there is no leakage of water in our house. We should use only as much water as we need. Water needs to be reused. Water taps should be closed after use.
Father, we should wash the vegetables in the deep vessel instead of running water. This will not waste water.
Mehul, you have said correct things.
Water management is very important. Taps should never be left open even when washing clothes. And most importantly, water should never be disposed of in the drain.
It should be used for other purposes
like watering or cleaning the plants or in the garden.
I will not misuse water from today. Brother, let us go to the school. Look, brother, I never paid attention to this Bawari or well. Water is pooled here. Will you use this water for farming? Let's ask that farmer uncle.
Chacha, is this well's water used in the fields?
Yes, children. In this well, we conserve rainwater and use it for farming.
Is it?
Look, to save water in the field, we have made platform. When the water gets filled in my field, the extra water goes to the field under it and also fills the other field.
Thank you, uncle. You know, Kunal, Master Ji said that we too can manage water in our house.
How is that, brother?
Teacher was saying that we should make an attempt to collect the rainwater that flows on the roofs and along the roads after it rains. This is called rainwater harvesting, and it should collect rainwater in reservoirs or man-made tanks. This saves water.
How hard we have to work to save water?
Yes, how will trees grow if there is no water? And if the trees and plants are not there, then we humans and animals will not get food. That's why water is life.
You are right, brother. Look there. Why are so many pipes connected like this? Let's see.
Yes, let's go.
I'm very curious to know if this is a new irrigation system. Hello, uncle. We wanted to ask you as to what is the system through which this water is going to the crop like this?
Hello kids. This is called drip irrigation. It is a method of irrigation in which water is provided with a small diameter plastic pipe in the root zone of crops in the form of drip drop.
What is the benefit of this?
This system uses less water and crops get more water. It also saves water.
Thank you, uncle. Today both of us got to see many ways to save water. We have come to know that if there is water, there is life. Water should be saved.
Children, can you list more ways to save water? Children, in this video you have got information on ways to save water. By saving rainwater, the groundwater level is conserved and water supply is maintained. See you. Thank you.
So, dear students, we have learned that water is absolutely essential for survival. About 3/4 of the world's surface is covered with water. World Water Day is celebrated on 22nd March every year. Water cycle is the process where water continually changes its form and circulates between oceans, atmosphere and land. We had also learned that about 97% of all the water is salty and about 3% is drinkable or fresh water. 2% is locked in ice caves and 1% is in rivers, lakes, ponds, wells, atmosphere, etc. Rivers, ponds and glaciers are the main source of fresh water. Less than 1% of the fresh water on the earth is freely available fresh water. Therefore, it must be used very carefully and should be conserved. Hope you got an idea about water and distribution of water bodies. Now we'll discuss about waves. When the water on the surface of the ocean rises and falls alternately, they are called waves. Waves are caused by the pushing action of the wind. Particles of water in a wave move mainly up and down and pass on their movement to the neighboring water particles, forming curls in water. These curls form a wave. An earthquake, a volcanic eruption, or underwater landslides can shift large amounts of ocean water, resulting in the formation of tidal wave called tsunami, which may be as high as 15 meters. Waves are oscillatory movement in water in which water particles move up and down in the direction of oscillation. A wave has two major parts. The upward part is called crest and the downward part is called trough. The vertical distance between two crests and two troughs is called wave height, and the horizontal distance between two crests and two troughs is called wave length. The size and force of the sea waves depend on the velocity of the winds, duration of the blowing wind, the distance the wind covers in the open sea. The largest tsunami ever measured was 150 meters high. These waves travel at a speed of more than 700 km per hour. The tsunami of 2004 caused widespread damage in the coastal areas of India. The Indira Point in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands got submerged after the tsunami.
Let's go to the next topic, tides. So what is a tide? It is basically rise and fall of the sea level. It occurs once or twice in a day. And the reason behind that is due to the attraction of the sun and the moon. Now I'll explain how tides work. There are many factors that are involved in creating a tide. However, three of them are important. They are the sun, the moon and the earth. All these three huge bodies have different gravitational pull, which creates a tide in the ocean. But in general, if you see the study of tides, it is a very complex subject. It's very confusing. Anyhow, as I said, the three major factors involved in creating tide are the moon, the earth and the sun. And the gravitational pull of all three bodies creates tide. As we know that the earth is quite larger than the moon. That's why the moon orbits around the earth. But then if you see, the earth is smaller than the sun. The sun is enormous. That's why the entire solar system revolves around the sun. That means smaller bodies orbit around the larger one, because the larger body exerts a gravitational pull on the smaller one. I hope so far it's clear. Now imagine this is Earth. The moon is right above it. Both Earth and the moon will exert some gravitational pull. Now we know that everything on Earth is grounded, and it is because of the gravitational pull of the Earth. For example, you and I are standing. If we jump, we will fall back to the same place. If you drop a light feather, it will fall due to the Earth's gravitational pull. Now when it comes to ocean, water is fluid, and fluids move more easily. So when water on Earth in a particular region, if it is directly beneath the moon, then the water gets pulled by the gravitational force towards the moon. And that creates a bulge, meaning a tide on the surface of the ocean. And on the other side of the Earth, there is another bulge in the ocean water. And this happens because this side of the water is further away from the moon and the centrifugal force that counterbalances gravity on Earth. So there are two tidal bulges that are created on opposite sides of the Earth. One is due to the moon's gravitational force and the other is due to the centrifugal force of the Earth. If you don't know what is centrifugal force, I'll just tell you quickly. Imagine gravity as a rope that pulls everything to the center of the Earth. And centrifugal force is the outward force that counterbalances the gravity. Anyhow, you just need to remember that there are two tidal bulges on opposite sides of the Earth. And both the side of the Earth where there is bulges, you will find high tide. And on the side that is right angle to the moon, you will have low tide. It is a bit confusing, right? But that's how it is. Now this all happens only when there is moon and the Earth. What about the sun? As I said, the sun is bigger than all the celestial bodies in a solar system. That means the sun will exert more gravitational pull, and it has influences on the tides as well. However, the sun's gravitational pull can do two things. Either it will increase the moon's gravitational pull on Earth, or it will diminish the moon's gravitational pull on Earth. When the Earth, the moon and the sun are in a straight line, the sun is behind the moon. Therefore, it enhances moon's gravitational pull, and that creates much higher tides. They are called spring tide. But when the sun and the moon is at right angle, the sun diminishes the gravitational pull of the moon on Earth, and that creates low tides. They are called neap tides. So this is how tides are formed.
What are ocean currents? Well, they are streams of water moving along the surface of the ocean in a definite path. Such more or less permanent streams of water which flow in a definite direction are known as ocean currents. Ocean currents are like rivers in the ocean, thousands of kilometers in length and sometimes about 200 kilometers wide. Based on temperature, ocean currents can be broadly divided into two categories, that is, warm currents and cold currents. Warm currents are those currents which flow from the lower latitude in tropical zones towards the high latitudes in the temperate and the subpolar zones. That is, they move from equator towards the poles, and they bring the warm water into the cold water area. When it is cold currents, they have a lower surface temperature and bring cold water into warm water areas. These currents flow in the high latitudes from the polar region towards the lower latitudes, that is towards the equatorial region. Then, based on their depth, the ocean currents can be divided into two categories, and that is surface currents and deep water currents. Surface currents constitute about 10% of all the water in the ocean and lie at the upper 400 meters of the ocean. Deep water currents make up the other 90% of the ocean water. These waters move around the ocean basin due to variations in the density and gravity. Deep waters sink into the deep ocean basins at high latitudes where the temperatures are cold enough to cause the density to increase. Let us study the causes of ocean currents. Well, the causes of ocean currents are level of salinity, temperature, Earth's rotation, land, and the planetary winds. So if we see the level of salinity, when I say level of salinity, it means the amount of salt present in the water. Salinity of the sea is generally affected by the inflow of fresh water from the rivers, melting ice, and rainfall, and by evaporation. For example, a high rate of evaporation in the Mediterranean Sea increases the salinity and therefore the density also increases. As a result, the currents of less dense, that is less salt water, flow into the Mediterranean Sea from the Atlantic and the Black Sea. Smaller countercurrents of a higher density or salinity flow outward, but that would be beneath these currents, so that the salt content of the basin remains constant. Next one is the temperature. The temperatures are higher at the equator than the poles. Hence, the water in the ocean near the equatorial region is heated more than that near the poles. This unequal heating sets up convectional currents in the ocean. The warm waters of the equatorial region are light and move along the surface towards the polar region, where they are cooled. The cold water is dense and heavy. It sinks downwards from the surface and moves slowly towards the equator, where on warming up, it may rise to the surface again. Next one is the Earth's rotation. The Earth rotates from west to east. First of all, the speed of rotation of the Earth is maximum at the equator. That is around 1,600 kilometers per hour. So all moving bodies, that is winds and ocean currents, move in a clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and anti-clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. For example, if we take up the Canary and the Gulf Stream in the northern hemisphere, they are moving clockwise, whereas the Brazilian and the Benguela current, if you look at, they are moving anti-clockwise direction. Next one is the planetary winds. Now, planetary winds also play a dominant role on the flow of ocean currents. Now, the names of the winds are trade winds, westerlies, and the monsoon winds. Trade winds blow between the equator and the tropics. These winds move equatorial waters polewards and westward. They warm the eastern coast of the continent. For example, the north equatorial current warm up the eastern coast of North America as the Gulf Stream, and the south equatorial current warms up the eastern coast of Brazil as the warm Brazilian current. Then it is westerlies. Now, westerlies blow in the temperate latitudes and result in the northeasterly flow of water in the northern hemisphere and the opposite in the southern hemisphere. The westerlies force the warm Gulf Stream to the western coast of Europe as the North Atlantic drift. They cause the cold west wind drift to flow towards the equator as the Peru current along the South America and the Benguela current along South Africa. Next one, the monsoon winds. The strongest influence of the prevailing winds on the flow of current is seen in the North Indian Ocean. Due to the monsoon winds, the direction of the currents change from southwest in summer to the northeast in winter. Because over India, these are the two main winds, that is southwest monsoon winds and northeast monsoon winds. Next one is the land. A landmass obstructs the flow of water of an ocean current and diverts its movement. For example, at Cape Sao Roque, the south equatorial current gets divided into two branches. One joins the north equatorial current and the other becomes the Brazilian current.